Public Safety Committee is recommending that the yield signs be placed on First Avenue Southeast to control north and south traffic. The committee will continue to monitor the situation to determine if the issue is resolved with just yield signs or if other signage is needed. Questions?
Well, the blind spot is when you're headed west on Third, and when you are headed north on First. So, oh, okay, I didn't hear you read the Third. I was thinking we could put just one in.
No, yeah,
No, they're
north-south.
North-south, one across from each other. Any other questions?
So the Public Safety Committee has recognized the lack of support from this council person for the stop sign. Yeah, it's kind of going to the yield sign, hoping to buy a vote from you. So,
The problem is, Rex, we don't know whether the yield signs are any cheaper than a stop sign.
But I'll be honest with you, Rex, I'm not in favor of this, and the bottom line is I've driven the intersection several times, and I don't see that big of a deal. If people are going the speed limit, it's a big if, but that's what they're supposed to be doing, then it's even a bigger if that they'll see a yield sign and make them obey the speed limit. So I'm with, I'm opposed.
I'm not sure that the signs are supposed to be traffic control. I think Mr. Lango, Scott, that is, has taught me well that doesn't always work. So I get very negative on these things. On the same token, I'm not sure that the yield sign, if it is put up there, might have people actually recognize that they're not supposed to be going that fast, but that's kind of a stupid way to do it, I think, too, so.
But I do think it is a safety issue at that corner.
I'm not disagreeing with you, I just, just because people are traveling 40 miles an hour down a residential, we can't control that.
Have we had any accidents, sir?
Police officer.
Huh?
Police officers have been in an accident there.
Thanksgiving Day. Well, it wasn't his fault though.
No.
I mean, he got
T-bone.
T-bone.
But he didn't, but it wasn't.
Well,
Would he write himself a ticket and Well, no, I'm sorry.
I just, we looked at it, I looked in the Uniform Traffic Code, and one of the criteria for the use of a yield sign is at an intersection that has restricted sight distance for the prevailing vehicle speeds. Okay, so at normal speeds that you're supposed to be going, there's something restricting sight, and in this case, it's the parking of the cars
In the corner.
at that intersection.
Okay.
I mean, so that legitimizes the use of a yield sign.
Okay.
I'm sure the definition of the use of the stop sign is the same thing.
If the cars though weren't all the way to the edge of the corners of those four corners, there would not be a need for any of these signs.
But we need the stalls for off-street parking.
We need them, or are they required?
Under normal, everybody should know if you're driving a vehicle, you're supposed to slow at an intersection, at least an uncontrolled one, and you're supposed to look all directions
And
before you proceed.
yield to the right.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. So the yield sign is just basically telling them, you're supposed to look at this intersection. So I can see both cases of, do we really have to do it? Because people are supposed to be obeying common traffic laws anyway. So, and if they're not, then we have to put up signs. Are they gonna follow the signs? Who knows?
Can I ask you a question? Who brought this up as a concern? Because if we really haven't had accidents there, I'm curious, where's this coming from? Where did it come from?
Citizens, and I had mentioned it to Steve.
Okay. So some of the neighborhood or something?
Well, not necessarily neighborhood, no, just people that drive in that area, so.
I think it brought into focus when they had the wheelchair on that road as well. There was more traffic at that time, so.
Okay.
Scott, you have anything to add?
Comment, Scott?
Yeah, I got a comment.
comment. I'm against it, only from the standpoint that it gives a false sense of security depending on what streets you're putting the yield on, and I understand from the agenda we're putting it on First. But the corner of First and Third, if you're traveling southbound, that's where one of these yield signs would go. There's absolutely no inhibition of sight visibility. So now we're putting one of the two signs on a corner that really don't need it. And Jason's comments is so very true. You, as a operator of a motor vehicle, you approach the intersection based on what you see coming. And so if there are cars parked and you can't quite see around the corner, then you need to slow down appropriately so that it's a safe maneuver. And a simple sign is not going to change that, guys. And so the use of a sign in this location, I think, is a waste of money.
Any other questions? I didn't entertain a motion.
That's difficult. I mean, we know if the city administrator is not supporting it, and we have two council people who are not. What do you think, Steve? It's not gonna end up, whether a motion's made or not, it's gonna not end up getting approved. Agreed?
Agreed.
So what do you want to do?
So we press on with no motion.
Can we table this one till we have 5 council people?
Absolutely.
We could take one.
Because we got the safety committee's recommending it.
At least we got 2 more weeks to
Yeah.
change
You
somebody's
want a
opinion.
motion today?
Yes, motion to table.
Or
Second.
Motion made and second to table, resolution number 1826, adding 2 yield signs on First Avenue Southeast at the intersection of Third Street Southeast. We have roll call on that, Bill?
No, if you need a motion, a roll call table, you just.
I don't think so either, because it shouldn't even have a motion number, should it?
No.
I wouldn't think so, okay, good enough.
Okay, we're on.
Aye. So we're motioning, and then we gotta approve it by voice vote. So we're tabling
I
it.
thought we didn't need a motion, but
Well, we already did a motion, so we
You got
gotta,
me confused.
so
No,
we
you
gotta,
don't.
we gotta do something, and we
All right.
already have a motion.
all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
We don't wanna get the new attorney in trouble.
No,
This
no,
first
no.
couple months. Let's wait a couple more weeks down the road.
We've done, he's been doing a good job
Yeah, that's good.
so far.
So far.
But he hasn't said anything either.
That's why he's been doing a good job.
Okay, library position.
Mayor, can I discuss this initiative here on this positions on 5, 6, and 7?
Wait a minute, where are we at here, 5, 6?
5, 6, and 7, 3 full-time positions.
Oh, here.
Yeah, they're all.
The last time we discussed this was at the budget time, and we had dollars in there, but we did not make a decision at that time. And the situation is this: I believe before we go further with full-time position, which adds dollars every year to the budget permanently, I believe we should have 5 council people here to address it.
Okay. I'll make it into
So I'd like to make a motion to table action items E5, 6, and 7 until further time.
I think there's a little bit of a problem. I get what you're saying, John, and I'm not opposed, but there is a problem, and that is because 2 of these positions, and I'm gonna say out of order, have already been advertised. And the city's concern is, Rich, you can speak to this if you like, the city's concern is that don't really want applicants thinking that we're playing some kind of a game here, okay? Or that they're kind of in limbo. So I think we've kind of got, I get what you're saying, John, and I think it has merit. But I also know that 2 of these positions already have the applications in. So, I don't.
Has any of the applications been read or responded?
Not, Rich, you know,
We looked at them, but we haven't responded.
No response.
No response.
So they're on hold.
As far as I know.
Yeah, the most recent responses, because applicants have called in and asked, what's the next step? The response to them has been, at least what I've given them, is it was coming to council today to get further direction.
Right.
That's been my response to those people.
In response to John's comment, would it be acceptable to move forward with them? And if there is a tie situation, put that one on hold until, or those two on hold, until there is a full panel up here. Cause I do get what you're saying, and I think the potential exists right now. I think the potential really exists for a problem. So, but I also, I mean, I'll just be very public about it. I very much support city, streets and water moving forward with their hiring. That's where I'm at, so I don't wanna hold them up, or those applicants. That's where I'm at.
You wanna address the library itself?
That's
That's what we're talking about on this one.
Well, what I'm saying is, I get what John's saying, if there's a tie vote on one of these positions, then I agree, we need Kenny here.
Hasn't been seconded yet.
If I could give my recommendation at the appropriate time.
Yep, go for it.
In your Public Works department, you have two staff, one of which is going to retire in 6 months, and the second one is going to retire in 3 years. In both cases, they are equipment operators, and for those of you sitting at the bench there, you got to be pretty lucky to find somebody that is willing to take city employment and have the type of experience in dump trucks, payloaders, skid loaders, backhoes, motor grader, that they can hit the ground running, as the saying goes, from day one. And so we really can't wait, in my opinion. So I'm the one that authorized the advertisement of the two positions, and I still support it fully, completely. We can't wait until the last minute for no less than 10 years, and I think Dick can verify this. We have systematically gone department by department and tried to come up with a succession plan, especially of our department heads. But this is on the same flavor of that. If we have positions that require a fair amount of training from the day they're hired until we can cut them loose on what they do for us. And in the case of Public Works, they've got to jump in dump trucks with a snowplow on it. Many of them have wings on it and other fairly large apparatus. And not everybody has the aptitude for that. And so it takes some training time. And like I said, one of your employees is within 6 months. I've talked to that individual. The other one's within 3 years, and I've talked to that individual. And I really think that what we're doing here, at least what I'm proposing, and that didn't get relayed to you, I apologize, in the council packet, is that we're pre-hiring in order to do the training so that they can hit the ground running when existing staff leave us. I'm not asking for additional employees at this time. I think we can delay that decision at the time that the existing employee filling by attrition. So when somebody leaves by retirement, we then need to make a tough decision. Do we actually stay at the larger number of employees, or do we go back to what it is today? So that's where I'm at on Public Works, and we've got a very similar situation at Water. We've got an employee that has indicated to me, I have spoke with them, and he has indicated that he's going to be leaving in 3 years' time. And he's got a wealth of the experience on your water staff. And Rich relies on this individual quite heavily. And I really think running a water treatment plant, which is 6 million gallons a day, with all the chemicals, with all the motors, all the pumps, the filters, it takes time to get to understand our system. It takes time to get to understand the telemetry and the SCADA system that links the treatment plant to the 2 towers and to the booster station. And then finally, it takes time to allow a person that gets hired to advance through the degrees that they might have to. So what I would aspire to do is the person that we're replacing is a grade 4, and as such, it takes a number of years of experience in addition to continuing education units or short courses in order to get them to advance from a 0 grade to 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I really think we've got to start now in order to achieve that 3 years hence. Once again, 3 years from now, I think then we can sit down with the appropriate committee and really determine whether we're going to be at a level of 6 employees or a level of 5 employees. I know where Rich is at. He would prefer to be at a level of 6. And I think even the retired superintendent, Mr. Sitzman, he was kind of at that same stage. Is he thought that we should have more people, not less. But at least for a 3-year period, we would have more, and then we could make that tough decision 3 years down the road. So as it relates to those 2 departments, I think Clark said it, and I would support what he is saying. Those 2 departments, I think we need to move forward. And if I jump the gun a little too far by asking for applicants, I apologize, but I feel that strongly that from a succession standpoint, we need to proceed. Now, as it relates to the library, and I'm sure the library board or staff are sitting in the room, I would be more than comfortable to table that one and give due consideration to their request. I don't see anything in the agenda that would give you, the council, some kind of reasoning, rationale, justification for what they're asking for. So at this stage of the game, I would recommend to table that one.
Up until the last part, I think we put these positions in there at budget time. And I think we've put a lot of dollars into the library. I know I've personally seen a lot more activity over there. I know that the library board is very aware of my concerns on a couple of items. One is the increase in hours. But my stance is that we allow them to hire a full-time employee. And I would ask that they would drop probably 20 hours in part-time in exchange for a full-time, because I think they have a new library that they're trying to keep the momentum going. And I do think that they were cut one position several years back. We've got the county back, or we're back on board with the county. I don't want to phrase that wrong and tick anybody off. So the county's back in the mix. I think that It looks as though to me their activity level is high enough to where I think it warrants a full-time employee. So however you guys want to shake this out is fine with me, but I'm a positive on all three. And I agree with what Scott said. I totally agree that I don't wanna hold up street and sewer, or street and water.
Mayor, there's currently a motion pending to table action items 5, 6, and 7. I think we either need, as a council, need to go one at a time.
It's not been seconded.
It has not been seconded. It's a pending motion. The motion can be amended, but I think we need to move forward either one at a time, or we table 1, 2, or 3 of them, just to get the process.
So on each, I mean,
Just ask for a second on John's motion, and if you don't get a second, then we can get rid of that motion.
is there a second on John's motion? So that is, that's done.
Back to the library.
So now we go back to the library, and since we have all these wonderful folks in the audience,
Okay.
we should at least give them the chance to state their case
Right.
today versus have to come back in 2 weeks to state their case. They still may want to if we end up going in 2 weeks, but let's at least start with today, and maybe we start with the boss early.
And sheriff, with the information is, and I'm pleased there's a lot of you there, so we don't want, you can't have 25 minutes on each one. But just one representative, if you could, to come forward or to
Yep.
share with us.
If you don't know me, I'm Robin Hermson, and I am the current president of the Lamar's Public Library Board of Directors, Board of Trustees. And I, of course, am here representing the Board of Trustees to support adding a full-time position to the Lamar's Public Library staff. And I will make this quick, I hope.
I mean,
No, I listen to myself and I get too. Anyway, I do have a little bit of history just to let you know where we, at least the way that we see this. Director Taylor came to us more than a year ago requesting a new full-time position. And